let you go. There's no way. I'm already still burning.
Hey dancers, today we're doing a beginner style warm-up. This will help enhance your flexibility, and it's a really good starting point if you need some TLC with your flexibility and extensions. So we're starting off by warming up our core, our back, and our entire body. I love starting with this to really open up your obliques and get your body a little bit warm before we start our movement. So I'm going side to side, looking up at the ceiling will also help get a deeper stretch in your side, but do whatever feels most comfortable to you. Next up, we're going to get one side of our body feeling nice first. I'm going to be in a runner's lunge. My back leg is super straight, digging that back toe into the ground. You can play with your arms here, so arms can go up. You can put them on your leg, on your hips, do some arm circles, really whatever feels best for you. We're holding this for 30 seconds, so whatever feels good. Make sure that you're breathing. From here, I'm going to go ahead and plant my back leg down, and then think about pushing your hips towards the wall in front of you. I'm trying to get my hip flexor down to the ground as much as possible while keeping my knee in line with my ankle. This will really help open up your hips, provide a deeper stretch, and relax your muscle. From here, I'm going to go ahead and turn out my front leg and then try to get your elbows down. This stretch is really important to try to keep your hips squared to the floor and not leaning too far over to the side of your straight leg behind you. You want to really try to square everything, shoulders, hips, waist to the floor. You can see that I'm also playing with opening up my hip. If that feels good, kind of play around here. Again, you have 30 seconds, do whatever you need. Next up, I'm going to bring that leg back center, and then I'm going to square my hips and pull back, trying to keep my new leg straight. That's out in front. Make sure you're flexing your toes as hard as you can. You're going to feel a deep stretch all the way in the back of your leg. And again, I'm really squaring my hips, so pushing my hips back towards the back wall. That way I have a good stretch all the way down that front leg. Think about nose to knee, again, flexing that foot. From here, I'm going to point my foot, and then I'm going to walk around and play with my different diagonals. So you can see I'm walking towards that opposite diagonal and then going to the other diagonal too. Take as much time as you need here. We're just, again, getting some activation in our leg and playing with the different parts of your hamstring. Pointing your foot all the way through, that way you feel a good stretch in your ankle as well. Next up, I'm going to go back into my runner's lunge, and then I'm going to push my hips forward. I'm repeating that same stretch again, really trying to deepen that hip flexor and get a good stretch. You can see here I'm also playing with my angle, so if you want to extend your arm down and push your hips even more forward, you can. Again, playing to whatever feels best for you. If your knees start to hurt, I would definitely grab a yoga mat, or doing this on carpet might feel a little bit better too. From there, I'm going to go all the way up into pyramid pose. My legs are parallel, toes are facing the front. This will really help square your hips and again get a really good deep flexibility stretch in that hamstring. You can play with flattening your back, play with how far out your hands are from your foot, whatever feels best. If you need to put your hands on your shin or on your thigh, that is totally fine too, as long as you're getting a good stretch. Now we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So you can see again, I'm going into that runner's lunge. I'm high, my back leg is straight. Again, play with your arms, do whatever feels best right here. Make sure that you're breathing. Knee and ankle are in line. You can see I'm playing with my arms here. Again, just whatever feels best for you while you're in this runner's lunge. From here, I'm going to plant that back leg down, and then again, continue to push your hips forward as much as you can. The goal is to get your hip flexor as low to the floor as possible while keeping your hips square. So I'm really sinking into that hip so I feel a really good stretch. Play with your arms here, play with your lifting of your chest, whatever feels good. Next up, I'm going to turn out that front leg, and then elbows go straight down. Again, trying to square your hips to the floor. You can play with flattening your back. If going all the way down on your elbows is a little bit too intense right now, just think of keeping a slight bend in your elbows, and again, trying to get your hips to the floor. You can see again that I'm playing with my angle here, whatever feels good. Next up, I'm going to bring that leg back center and then pull back nose to knee. Again, trying to keep my hips squared and pushing that left hip back towards the back wall, flexing your foot, trying to really create a nice long line in the back of your leg. Big thing on this one too, make sure that your hip and your knee are in line on that back leg. You're not dropping too low or you're not going to feel a good stretch in your hamstring. From here, I'm going to point that foot and then again playing with my angle. So you can walk across your body, trying to get your arms away as possible, go towards the other diagonal. We're just playing here. You can go as slow or as fast as you need. I prefer going a little bit slower, probably holding a couple seconds and then going to the other side. Next up, we're going to bend that leg again, making sure everything's parallel, and then I'm pushing my hip forward. You can see again that I'm pressing my right arm down and pushing my left knee with my left hand. You can play with some arching of the back. Really whatever feels good. You can just hold. Again, listen to your body, but we're trying to get a good stretch in that hip flexor. Making sure that your knee is on top of that ankle. You can play with your angles here, whatever feels good. And then pulling all the way up, legs are parallel. I'm in pyramid pose, making sure that both of my legs are straight, toes are still pointing towards the wall. You can play with the flat back here. You can walk your hands out in front, trying to create more space.
Can't remember anything, but I know we got good times. Live in the moment, feel like summertime.
From here, I'm going to bring my legs together, then come all the way up. We're going to start stretching out our second position. So arms come up, go all the way down, trying to push your hips towards the back wall. I'm playing with some plies here. You can plie whenever you want. Again, we're activating that muscle, getting our legs feeling awake. We've been doing a lot of stretches, so if you need to do some plies, it's perfectly fine. Toes are parallel to the front. And again, I'm pushing my hips towards the back wall. If you want to grab your ankles to pull your body towards your legs, that's great too. From here, I'm going to walk my feet together. And then same thing, I'm pushing my hips towards the back wall, trying to flatten your back as much as possible. You can see here I'm kind of playing with bending my right knee, then bending my left knee. Again, just getting some blood flow into the legs. You can play the flat back, you can do some plies. I gotta take a minute to calm down. But I feel like from here, I'm gonna come all the way up, and then I'm gonna interlace my hands behind my back and really open up my chest and shoulders, going all the way forward. So be careful on this one not to overdo it. I'm going to where I feel a good stretch in my shoulders and in my chest, and then playing around with this position as well. We're just opening up our arms and our back.
Tell me, should I go and call up a taxi? We can make out for play in the backseat. Please tell me now how that all sounds.
You're almost done. From here, I'm going to open my legs out into second, and then I'm opening up and twisting. You can again alternate, go as slow or as fast as you want. You can play with going down onto your elbows. Big thing here is to keep a good turnout, and I'm trying to sink my hips as low as they can.
I told you I was ready right this minute. Do you think that it would turn you on? I just feel like you need to know. If I told you I was ready right this minute, would you just run off and tell someone?
Final one. We're going to go all the way down, and I'm stretching out my hamstrings again.
things to talk
Making the
about.
goal, pushing your hips all the way back. Again, you can grab your ankles, trying to get some blood flow back into our legs and really extend from our hamstrings.
If I told you I was ready right this minute, do you think that it would turn you on? You tell me now. If I told you I was ready right this minute.
Next up, we're going to stretch out our calves, and again, a little bit of that hamstring. I'm going to go into down dog. You can see here I'm kind of pedaling my feet, alternating side to side, really trying to stretch out your calves. When you're in down dog, think about getting your booty all the way up to the ceiling and then flattening your back. You can see here that I'm pressing my hands down, really extending from my hamstrings, and the flatter your back, the more you're going to feel it.
Do you think that it would turn you on?
And then final thing, it won't be a good warm up without a plank. We're going to hold our plank on our hands for about 30 seconds, pulling your belly button to spine, flattening your back, pushing the ground away from your body. And that will conclude our beginner-friendly warm-up. I hope you guys liked it. If you do it, tag me so I can see, and let's get flexible.
Watch me as I go, watch me as I go. Should I look both